Well, I thought today we would make a fun little bundt cake that's kind of sort of inspired by St. Patrick's Day next month. But it could be, you could change the colors and make it for any season. So stay tuned and see how fun and easy this is to make. All right, so we're using just a dark brown kind. I'm using a soft clay. I'm using Sculpey 3 and I think suede brown. And to get ready to work today, I made a ball of clay. First, I conditioned my clay, obviously, and got it nice and well conditioned. And then I've got a 1/2 inch ball of clay. I'm going to use my circle template to help me, but you don't have to. You can just smush it down until it looks about right. Smash it down until it's about approximately 5/8. It's going to be a little bigger than that, but not a lot. There. Now I'm going to take any tool that you can make a hole in the top of through the center of your clay, and then kind of use a ball tool or something to kind of smooth that out. Make that hole a little bit bigger. I'm a little off center, but that's okay. Take some more of that clay. And I have a piece of graph paper here that is 8 squares to the inch. I like using graph paper to portion my clay because it makes it easy for me to cut nice, even pieces of clay. And I have 2 regular craft sticks. I'm going to roll my clay out until it's a nice, even slab of clay, basically, that's the same thickness as my 2 craft sticks. I can tell when I hit the wood craft sticks with my roller, and then I know that this is nice and even. Now I am going to pick a line, and I'm going to line my knife up, and I'm going to cut right with one of those lines so that I have a nice straight edge. Now I'm going to take my knife on an angle. It doesn't have to be a precise angle, just an angle, and cut a bevel on that end. That's going to allow me to blend this in to the top of our cake a little bit easier. Now we need, I don't need that, I need 8 pieces that are an 1/8 inch wide, which is why I'm using my 1/8 inch graph paper. So just line my knife up with the strips, with the lines. And I know that I'm cutting, as long as I'm lining my knife up, which is a little harder on camera than it is when you're not on camera and you can put your face right over it. 3. Six. That's a little crooked, but that's okay. Cut a few extra, and then maybe I can pick a few that are a little straighter. Now, I'm going to pick this back up, take my first strip and take that beveled end and put the beveled side with the bevel up at the top of the cake. And then I'm going to cut that strip off so it's even with the bottom. Pick up the next beveled strip. The bevel always goes at the top. And I'm going to go straight across from the one I just put on. Bevel goes there, run it down, and cut it off. I didn't get that precisely across, but I can kind of fudge it over there. There we go. Now, I'm going to go over here, halfway in between, kind of like I'm doing the points, the 4 main points on the clock, or the 4 points on a compass, however you want to look at it. And then try to get straight across with the bevel at the top again. And there are different styles of bundt cake pans. This is just one style. And this isn't an exact copy. I'm just kind of loosely basing this on the pan I've got in my kitchen. but I didn't go exact because that would have been really hard. All right. Now, try and get this right in between those other two. Your first batch of 4 evenly dissects your circle. The second batch of 4 you want to have right in the middle between those pieces. If at any point you feel like that's kind of getting loose, go ahead and use your tool to help you work those in there. That one stretched really badly when I tried to pick it up. All right, now, and I don't really have to work across now because I know I've got those set. Two more to go. And I know it's kind of hard to see on the dark brown, but I really wanted to make a chocolate cake. I wanted to make this a chocolate one. Here's my open piece. And around. All right, now I'm going to make sure, see if I can hold this. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Kind of smoothing that center, blending those beveled pieces in. And now we're going to start the first of our texturing. I'm going to use a toothbrush and I'm going to texture those pieces that we just added on and kind of soften their edges just a little bit. This isn't going to have a whole lot of texture, just a little bit. Now, I've got a toothpick. I've got a toothpick here to help me visualize my size. Because what I want to do is get some clay, make it into a nice ball. I'm going to put this off the side where I don't bump it and knock it and flatten it or something stupid. I'm going to roll out a snake of clay. And I'm going to try and make it about the same diameter as that toothpick I have sitting there. They're about 1/16 of an inch. But rather than measuring, because this doesn't have to be perfect, there we go. I cut the end off. Now I'm going to take my cake, I'm going to kind of fit this into the top and run it between each of those. In each of those 8 places, the little gaps that we left, we're just going to very carefully put that in and do that. Hopefully I'm staying fairly well under camera. And the top of the cake is going to be mostly covered with our icing, our drizzle. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And some of your spots are going to be, let's see, that piece of my clay is a little bit narrower. Just a couple more spots. And this doesn't look like much yet. And the last one. Now, I'm going to take that same toothpick that I had sitting here, and in each of those areas where those pieces of clay come together, and I'm going to take a ball tool, and kind of smooth that top. I'm trying to avoid using cornstarch because I really don't want the white haze. All right, now I'm going to, well, let's go through it again with the toothbrush and just get a little more texture. Now I'm going to bake this at the recommended temperature for, I'm going to go 20 minutes simply because I want to make sure this cures all the way through. And when this is baked and cooled to room temperature, I'll come back and we will add our icing drizzle. All right, our little cake is out of the oven and cooled to room temperature, so let's make some icing to drizzle. And we're doing the TLS icing. I know, I've been doing this a lot in like every food video. That's because I found my oil paints the other day. I had misplaced them when I moved. So I'm just really excited to have them. So I have 3 colors of oil paint. I have titanium white, I have viridian blue, viridian green, and I have emerald green. So we are going to just take just a tiniest amount and mix in. And I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and turn the camera off and get this mixed. I forgot to grab something, so let me get these mixed in, and when they are mixed, I will be right back and we can get started doing our drizzle. All right, I had to grab these. These are my green micro beads. I want to use those on here too. So I did end up grabbing some lemon yellow and adding to this viridian green, whatever it is. I just felt it was a little too blue. So I wanted a little bit more yellowish. So let's get our cake over here. And we are going to start with our light green. Just kind of put it on. Always work with this on a non-stick baking surface. Because if this was to run down, it could stick to whatever you're baking it on. So I usually use parchment because I find it will peel off of parchment pretty well. Anytime I'm using anything with TLS, I try to bake on a parchment. And I reuse the parchment. As you can tell, this one is getting pretty stained from different things I've used it for over the last, I don't know, couple of weeks. Kind of tease it down so that it makes a nice drizzle down the side of the cake. When you're doing this, you don't want to put very much oil paint into the TLS, just a tiniest bit, just enough to color it and mix it in really well. Oil paint is not safe to use on clay by itself, but when it is mixed with the TLS, it works just fine. And I've been using it for years and years. Right now I'm going to use the darker of the greens. I saw a really cool cake on a picture online when I was looking for ideas for today's video. So I hope I'm kind of doing it justice. I love this glaze because it flows like a real drizzle would, so it really makes the baked goods look really cool. All right. add some white on the very top. If you get green onto your white tip of your white toothpick, just wipe it off. Ah. I'm getting out from under camera, I apologize. Hopefully I was under camera for most of that. But I had to rotate this around and work with it. Cleaner toothpick here. All right, now I have these little micro beads, and these are little glass micro beads. I know that this particular packaging is not available anymore, but you can still buy them pretty much anywhere that has craft supplies. A lot of places have them. They're used in card making and all kinds of stuff. And they're a little micro no-hole bead. All right, now this needs to be baked at recommended temperature for TLS, which is about 275. I'm actually dropping mine down to 225 or 250 because my oven tends to overheat a bit. So I'm going to bake this for the 10 minutes that's recommended for TLS. I find, by the way, that this is why I'm doing this now rather than when I made the cake. I have found that this process looks so much better when it's only baked for the 10 minutes. So I'm going to go do that. I'll let it cool, and then we can take a look at our little cake. All right, here's our cake all baked and cooled. I love how this looks. I think it turned out beautifully. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure and leave a comment and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed and you enjoy my content, be sure and hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. And I thank you very much for watching my video. I will talk to you later. Bye.